Hi, this is Kiran. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn about comparable interface. So we'll create a student class here, and in the student class, we'll create members, ID, first name, last name, and we'll create a default constructor and constructor with fields, ID, first name, last name. So we'll create a constructor with fields, and we'll create getters and setter methods for those three fields, and we'll create a toString method for those three fields so that we can get the output, can get the object values. So for us to sort the objects, we need to implement comparable interface. So here student class, we are going to sort the students objects, so we are implementing a comparable interface, and student class also need to override the compare_to method. So that is comparable interface compare_to method. So here we have to use compare_to, and here we are sorting based on ID. So get ID, we are getting the ID, and we are comparing that ID, the first object ID with the second object ID. So, and based on that it is giving, if it is less than first object get ID value, that is first object ID value is less than, it is written -1. First object's ID is greater than the second object ID, 1. If they are equal, 0. So in this way it is comparing two objects IDs by using compare_to method. So after that, we are creating a main class to create objects and to run the Java application. So we are creating a main class. So in that main class, we are creating objects for the student class. So here we're creating 4 objects here with ID, first name and last name. And next what we are doing is we are adding those objects to the array list. So those 4 object references, the 4 objects we are adding to array list, that list name student list. So after that we are iterating over the list, the student list. We are traversing to the array list using the iterator, and we are printing the objects later. So this we are going to do now. So and this time going to Eclipse now. See, we have already, we have created a Java project here already and created a package here, and in that we have created 2 classes, student and student main app. So let me open the student class. So here we already created 3 attributes for this class: ID, first name, last name, and default constructor also. So now I will create a constructor using fields. So I'm just right clicking on it and go to source, generate constructor using fields. Okay, I'm just clicking on generate. Yeah, fine. So now again I'm right clicking and going to source, generate getters and setters. For all these, select all, for all these 3 fields, generate getters and setters. Yeah, we got the for all 3 fields, get ID, set ID, and get first name, set first name, get last name, set last name. So we got the getters and setters for all these three attributes. Now we are also overriding the toString method here. So we are generating the toString method using all these three fields. So again, go to source, generate toString with all these three fields. So click on generate again. So now for us to sort the object, this class objects, we have to implement the comparable interface. We have to, this student class must implement the comparable interface. So I am implementing now implements comparable. Implements comparable. So here it is showing red mark here. We click to show add and implemented methods. See, so this comparable interface having see here, if you see compare to method, so that method we need to implement, because we are implementing, when we implement comparable, we have to implement this compare to method. So when I click add and implemented methods, yeah, so that error is gone now. So here at the bottom, so we are yeah, this method is there, skeleton is there, method we have to write the code here for this compare to method. So I have already written this code in comments, so just use that method. So basically what we are doing here is this is object type, right? This O is object type. We have to cast this to student, because on the student object only we are getting this ID. So we have to cast the first before using this getters and setters, we have to cast the object reference to a student. So for that, what I'm doing is like I'm using the already existing code here to save time. So see here, student. So we already have two student class here. So student reference I have created, and we are creating this object O to student. We are using the cast operator. We are casting here. So now, so when we do this, when we call this comparative, so initially object 1 dot comparative, within parentheses we are using object 2, right? So that we will show in students main app. That class we will see how we are calling this comparative. So this first object is by default available, and we can access with the this keyword, this dot get id, that is first object get id, and less than student dot get id. So in that case return -1, because first object id is less than the second object id. Similarly, first object id is greater than, then return 1. So both are equal, return 0. So this is the logic for comparative using to sort the elements, sort the object, sort the class objects by using the id, because we have used we are comparing with the get id field here. So it is the class objects are sorted in id order. So now this I am saving it. We will go to student main app class now. So here, so we have main method. Yeah, public static void main method is there. In that we have to create objects for student. So to save time, I have already created the objects students. Student 1, some ID, first name, last name I have given. Similarly, student 2, first name, last name, ID I have given. So similarly, 4 students we have created. So now next step is we have created 4 students objects. Student. So next what we are doing here is we are creating student list, that means array list with name with reference student list, and we are adding all these 4 students to the array list. So add student objects to array list. That's we did here. So array list, student list, new array list, and for that array list student list, we have added by using the dot add method to add to the collection. To add the objects to the array list, we use add method, and 2, 3, 4 we have added. So now we have created the objects, and we have added the objects to the student list array list. So now so we will next we will do sorting of the list array list. Okay, we will see that in the next.